I want to talk about what a JavaScript method is, and we'll take a look at how a method is being used within a script on our form field. So right now, I have the hand available, so I'm looking at this like a user. I'll click inside job title, and this message pops up for me, freezes the PDF form interface until I click OK. Then I'm back, able to work within this specific form. And that feature is using two concepts in JavaScript. The first is a JavaScript variable, and what the variable does is store the information to put into this box. But the method is what's actually creating the box. So let's take a look at the code for that and break it down just a little bit. JavaScript methods all work in a similar manner, so what I'm talking about within this field will apply to all of the scripts that we create within this course using a JavaScript method. So I'll go up to the Select Object, double-click my form field, select Run a JavaScript, and click Edit. And the reason I'm doing it this way is because it's the easiest way for you to see the code. So I'll click Edit. Now, here is the JavaScript that I'm running. I have 2 lines of code. This is the first one, and this first one creates a variable in computer memory called giveMessage and attaches a value to it. In other words, anytime we're using the word giveMessage, what we're actually referencing is this line of text. The second line, this one here, is the one I want to focus on. And I do have some explanations above it. So first of all, anything with 2 forward slashes in front of it means that this is a line of information that's just for us. It's called a comment. And what it does is help me write little notes within my code about what the different pieces or lines of scripting do. In case I come back to it later, I can just read the comments about what I'm doing across the script instead of having to try and figure it all out from scratch. So this is information I added for you so you would understand and know what this piece does. So let's start with the give message. This simply means we're passing this information, this sentence, to this method. Now I know this is a JavaScript method because first of all, there's a word here, and that word is immediately followed by parentheses. There's no space between the T and the parentheses. So anytime you see that in JavaScript with a parentheses immediately after it, it doesn't matter what the content is inside the parentheses. If it's a word with parentheses immediately following it, that is a method. What does that mean? You can think of a method as a command to tell JavaScript to do something. So this particular method, the alert method, tells JavaScript pop up a box of information for the user. So pop up that little JavaScript box we saw with an OK button inside of it and show it to the user. So our alert here, we could put any information inside of it, and that information would go inside that box. Now, why do I have a dot and app in front of it? Because usually you're going to tell a certain part of the program to do this. And what the app object does, and what we're actually doing here, is we have an object here, and we have a method here, and a variable here. So just some programming terms. So we know what the variable is. The alert method tells JavaScript to open up a box of information for the user. But what we have to do is tell a specific object within our form to do that, because only the app or app object has access to doing this. So what we're doing is referencing, we're saying, okay, application, in other words, the program that is reading our form, which could be Adobe Reader, it could be within the browser, it could be Acrobat, whatever the program is that's reading this form, pop up a little alert box and put this message inside of it. That's what that line is saying. So more often than not, you have to reference an object specifically when you tell it to do something. Otherwise, it's going to say, well, wait a minute, there's nothing referenced, so nobody knows what to do, so nothing happens. So I'm telling it, okay, program that's running this PDF form, pop up an alert for the user and populate it with this information. So that is app.alert, and that's what these messages mean. The APP represents the application running the form. Alert is a method or something that it needs to do. It's an action. Tells the object referenced in front of it to pop up an alert box with the contents within the parentheses. And we defined what those contents are up in this first line of code. So that is an object specifically. So the alert method is created by the application that's running it, which is the APP object. So that's a brief overview of objects and methods along with variables within JavaScript. And you will find most of the time when you go to use a method, certain methods are able to be done by certain objects, so you'll end up putting those two together. And anywhere within this form we want to pop up a message, we just say app.alert, put parentheses, and we can either put this exact text inside this area with the double quotes, or we can assign it to a variable and give the instructions to the computer that way. This method is a little bit shorter when we actually write our code to do something. So that is assigning methods to specific objects within JavaScript.